And now it's my daily interview series, Money Talks. And today I'm talking to Lisa Johnson. After a tough childhood spent in social housing, Lisa's a huge believer that everyone can become a success no matter their background. She's built a successful career as a business strategist, a business coach. She's also an ambassador for the charity Bullies Out. So here she is, Lisa Johnson, my latest guest on Money Talks. Lisa, great to have you here in the studio on Money Talks. We were just talking in the break, weren't we? And you were watching the previous item about loan sharks and people getting into trouble. And you said that that's something that you've experienced in your previous life.
Yeah, I think so many of us had. I had twins. I had really young twins. I'd gone through a divorce and I didn't have the money to pay just the basic bills. And so for me at that time, all I was seeing was loan sharks saying, well, you can have it really easily. We can give you this money really easily. And when you need the money, you need the money. And so I was getting loan after loan after loan. And it meant that I ended up £30,000 in debt. And the APR on those debts were huge. The
rate of interest.
Yeah, it was just massive. And so when I was paying it back, obviously I was paying back so much more than I had borrowed, and it was so hard. Even though I was trying to pay it off with what I was getting paid, I was never getting to the bottom of it.
How were you treated?
No, I was a number.
Were you psychologically, do you think there was, we heard of some really horrendous things happening.
Yeah.
So people who get really in debt in terms of physical abuse. Perhaps it didn't come to that.
It didn't come to that. I was getting a letter.
Felt tormented.
Yeah, letter after letter after letter. If you don't pay, we'll do this. If you don't pay, we'll do this. And it is scary. I'm lucky that I had done a law degree earlier on in my career, and so I kind of knew the tactics that were used. But yeah, it wasn't an easy time.
So you grew up from humble beginnings in Lincolnshire. You got yourself a law degree. It didn't mean you weren't subject to financial issues when you had your small kids and you'd been, unfortunately, divorced. How did you turn your life around to build Lisa Johnson's strategy? It's, a well-known strategy company in the business sphere. What was it about you that made you do that?
I think necessity. So I didn't get my law degree until much later in life, and I got it while working full-time as a PA.
That's tough.
It was tough, but I had to do something to try and get me, out of the position I was in. But even when I did that, there were no jobs because there were so many people going for these law degrees, and I was a mum of two kids. And so I was a PA, and I knew that I was going to have to save myself. There was no one's going to come and help me. I was going to have to save myself.
Lovely picture of your kids there up on the screen for people watching on television and online. I guess that's your real motivation, right?
It is my motivation, and I knew that I needed to do something, but I didn't really know what. And then I decided to start a business. And so my first business was a wedding planning business. I just chose it because I thought, why not? It sounded fun. But I made every mistake that you can possibly make. I didn't know anyone that had been in business, so I was just kind of like winging it as I went along and learning. And I ended up at the end of the first year of that business realising that I wasn't doing very well. I was making £1.15 an hour in that business. I was never going to be able to leave my 9-to-5 PA job to spend time with my twins. And so I decided to learn everything that I could. I made this decision. I'm either going to have to live hand to mouth, always be in debt, same as generations before me, or I'm going to have to learn everything I can and turn this around. So I went to every free webinar online. I read every business book I could get my hand on. And eventually I turned that business around. And then people started asking me, how have you done this? How did you start your business? And I started just telling them the things that I had learned. And I seemed to have a knack for telling them it without the jargon and without the complications. Just do this, this and this. And so then about 5 years ago, I realised that if I was really going to clear this debt, I needed to do this properly. And so I went all in and said, right, I am now a business strategist. I'm going to help people with their business strategy. And started helping first hundreds, then thousands of people make money online, just using the knowledge that they already have in their head.
A lot of it is just having the confidence to start, isn't it? And having the confidence to say to people, oh, you can't do that. That thinking, well, actually, I can. It's kind of a determination, isn't it? A kind of stubbornness. Now, I know you wouldn't describe yourself as a particularly exceptional person, yet you've done it. So what would you say to people who are thinking, you know what, I want to do what Lisa's doing. I want to take control of my life and try and build a business that means I have the freedom to be the mum, the dad, the brother or sister, to be the person that I really want to be.
Because that's what it's all about, right? Like, if we really think about this, it's because do we want to spend all of our time working until we die? Or do we want to find a way that we're not trading time for money and we're actually spending time with our kids? And I think the reason that I was able to do it is because I had a tough childhood. I think that when you have obstacles in your life, when you start a business, things go wrong. It's not easy having a business. And if you've never had those obstacles, you're likely to go, oh, well, I tried, it didn't work for me. But if you've been through obstacles, whether it's illness, financial obstacles, I was bullied really badly in school, then I think you're more likely to say, okay, it's an obstacle, but I've had obstacles before. I can go round. I'll find a way through.
But we all know it's easier if you come from money, your parents can lend to you, your relatives can lend to you. If you come from a privileged background, you know, you've got the people you need to talk to sort of wafting through your living room anyway. You had none of that.
No.
You had none of that. Didn't you get a bit narc sometimes that you saw other people getting ahead because they had lots and lots of advantages you didn't have? Or did you use that as a sort of motivation?
I did use it as a motivation, but I will say I did used to feel like, oh, it's okay for her because, it's okay for him because.
But you don't get anywhere thinking that, do you?
No, you have to switch that mindset to, well, actually, I can do this.
Why not me?
And I had to look for other people who had come from backgrounds like me.
Role models.
To say, well, if they can do it, I can do it too. And it's why I'm so visible online now, because I want to show people that if I could, they can. And we don't have to be in this position. We can really try and change things, turn things around. And even if we're just adding a little bit of money per month, that can really, really relieve things. And during the coronavirus, the pandemic, I had thousands of people coming to me saying, I no longer have any work. I can no longer support myself. People who were in businesses, people who were in jobs, and we had to find a way to help them to earn money. And so that's what we did.
One brief answer at the end. We're up against time limits, which is a shame because I could talk to you for a long time, Lisa. It's very interesting. Yeah, you're a businesswoman. Business people, they tend to have their finger on the pulse of what's happening in the economy. This cost of living crisis, how concerned are you?
I am concerned, but I know that if we pull together, we can do things about it for ourselves. What I do think we need to do is stop relying on a government to bail us out of things. We're going to have to do it ourselves. No one's coming to rescue us.
Lisa Johnson, really good to talk to you. Thanks a lot for appearing on Money Talks, and all the best with your business and best to your children.
Thank you very much.